What's up guys, AussiePlays here, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am going to be breaking down the vertical long pass play, corner cross. I will be going over the read progressions and also what to look for against certain coverages. Corner strike is a pass play utilizing 5 receivers. You have your 2 wide receivers, your slot, your tight end, and your halfback. It is out of the single back formation, and you have 5 O-line blocking for you. So here is the play when it's not flipped. You have your wide receiver 1 running a hitch route, your slot receiver running a corner route, your halfback running to the flats, your wide receiver 2 running a corner strike, and your tight end running a post route. When corner cross is flipped, your receivers start in the same positions on the field, but they run different routes. Your wide receiver 1 is going to be running the corner strike. Your slot receiver is running the post. Your wide receiver 2 is running the hitch. Your tight end is running the corner route. And your halfback is running to the flats on the other side of the field. I like to flip the play depending on which hash I am on. If I'm on the right side of the field, I'll run the play not flipped, but if I'm on the left side of the field, then I'll flip the play. This is my defensive read progression when I run this play not flipped. First, I look at that defender highlighted in the red box. He will determine if the coverage is man or zone coverage. After looking at the defender in the red box, I now shift to the cornerback who was highlighted in the orange box. It will determine if I am going to be looking at that side of the field or if I need to switch over to the other routes on the other side of the field. After looking at the cornerback, I will now look at the safety who is on the right side of the field. He will help me determine what coverage the defense is in if they are in a zone coverage. Depending on what these 3 defenders do will determine what route I throw to. If you flip the play, then the read progressions is the same but just on the other side of the field. Cover 0 is usually a blitz and is when both safeties are in man coverage and there is no defender in a deep blue zone. If you are playing league versus league, you can tap on the defender's pre-snap to show their play card. You can do this to help determine what formation the defense is in, and you can find key matchups that way. So I see on the field that there is only 1 linebacker on the field and 6 defensive backs. That means the defense is in dime formation and it is usually used for defending the pass. So pre-snap, it looks like it may be a cover 2 defense. I don't know if it's man or zone coverage yet, and that can only be determined after the snap. After the snap, I see 6 defenders blitzing. That means the remaining 5 will be in man coverage one-on-one against my receivers. So that means I just have to choose the best matchup, the best routes to get the ball out quickly and to get a first down. These are the routes my receivers are running against this defense. Since I have it not flipped, the first read is the slot receiver on the corner route. The second read is your wide receiver 2 on the post. Then your third read is your tight end on the corner strike. Since this is going to be a 6-man blitz, meaning one of the defenders is not going to be picked up and will have a free rush at your quarterback, you need to get this ball out as quick as possible, and the best matchup is your slot receiver on a corner route against a deep safety in man coverage. After the snap, I see that it's going to be a blitz and the defense is man coverage, so I throw to my slot receiver who has leverage against that safety. It's hard to tell whether the defense is in cover 0 pre-snap, but after you snap the ball, you can tell because the defense is blitzing and they're in man coverage. Here is the third clip of cover 0. So pretty much your read here is your receiver running the corner route, as that route has the best leverage against a man coverage defense. Cover 1 is usually man coverage defense again, like cover 0, but this time there is one safety in a deep blue zone. The defense in this clip is a 4-3 defense. 4-3 means there are 4 D linemen and 3 linebackers, hence the 4-3. Looking at the player cards pre-snap, I see that both safeties are on the same side of the field. So this is really unusual, and it could only happen if one of the safeties is in man coverage, and it looks like one of them is in man coverage on my tight end, while the other safety is going to be dropping into a deep blue zone. Here are the defensive assignments for cover 1 man, and I believe that the last linebacker is in a QB spot. There are going to be 4 pass rushers from the D line, and there is going to be 5 defenders up against your 5 receivers in man coverage. This defense has 4 pass rushers and 5 defenders one-on-one against each of your receivers. Looking at the defensive positioning pre-snap, your best matchup is your slot receiver, as he is up against a linebacker and you have a speed advantage, as well as if you have a good route runner, then he can get even more separation. Here are the receiver routes on top of the defensive coverage. The first read against a man coverage defense is going to be your receiver running the corner route. Since I have corner cross flipped, then it's going to be my tight end. The second read is going to be your slot receiver, and since the play is flipped, he is going to be running a post route. Your last read, number 3, is going to be your wide receiver 1 running the corner strike. Pre-snap, I see both safeties on the same side of the field, which means it is most likely man coverage. Since there are only 4 pass rushes, I have more time to throw the ball and hit wide receiver 1 for an easy first down. Pre-snap, this defense looks like it could be cover 3 or it could be cover 1. And I see that man coverage, so I throw it to the corner route, and it's an easy first down. So checking the defender's pre-snap, I find out this defense is in nickel formation, meaning that one of the linebackers is replaced by a defensive back. Looking at how the safeties are positioned, you can safely bet that it is going to be either a cover 3 or cover 1, because one of the safeties is 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage, while the other one is more than 10 yards away. After the snap, I see that the defense is in man coverage and one of the linebackers is blitzing. That means there are going to be 5 rushes against 5 blockers, and I have less time to get the ball out, but I should be able to throw to the receiver running the corner route, as that is the best route against a man coverage defense. I have the play not flipped, so my slot receiver is running the corner route. Here's your first read every time you have a man coverage defense. Your second read is going to be your tight end, and he is matched up in man coverage one-on-one against a safety. Usually those safeties have low man coverage, so you can get good separation. Your third read is your wide receiver 2 running the post route. This route is a little bit more difficult to throw because you have the trailing defender in man coverage as well as the safety in a deep blue zone. Here is the clip one last time, and you can see how quickly your slot receiver on a corner route gets open against a man coverage defender. Here is another clip of cover 1 man coverage out of the 3-4 formation, and this time you have 5 rushes. Cover 2 is when both safeties are in a deeper blue zone and the rest of the defense is either in man or zone coverage. The defense is in a 4-3 formation, meaning there are 4 D linemen and 3 linebackers. This is usually a good sign, as it means a linebacker is on one of your speedy receivers, either your tight end or your slot receiver. Pre-snap, you would never have been able to tell that this was going to be cover 2, as one of the safeties was right at the line of scrimmage. Once again, against a man coverage defense, your first read is going to be your receiver running the corner route. After that is going to be your receiver running the corner strike, and lastly, it is your receiver running the post route. Unfortunately, in this case, my quarterback didn't have enough throw power and the ball got tipped by the trailing defender at the last second. Here is another clip of cover 2 man coverage, and you can see that your receiver running the corner route will get wide open, and it depends on if your quarterback has enough throw power. You can decide to bullet pass it if you want, but that runs the risk of a underthrow and getting picked off by the trailing defender. Here we have a cover 2 zone coverage. This is harder to throw against than man coverage, but if you let the routes develop long enough, you can find the holes. Pre-snap, I found out that the defense is in dime formation, meaning that only the middle linebacker from the linebacking group is on the field. The other two linebackers are replaced by defensive backs. Here is what cover 2 zone coverage looks like. You have your two safeties in the deep blue zones. You have your two cornerbacks in light blue zones defending the flats. And you have the rest of your defenders, your middle linebacker, and your two defensive backs, which is your nickel and your dime, in medium yellow zones. Your first read is the receiver running the corner route. In this case, it is my slot receiver. The reason that this is your first read is because wide receiver 1 is going to be running a hitch route, and since there is a flat zone defender, he will be occupied defending against that hitch route, leaving a large gap between the flat zone and the deep blue zone. Your second read is your wide receiver 2 running the post route. This route is longer developing because you have to wait until he clears two of the medium yellow zones. And you also have to fit the ball in where the middle linebacker can't intercept it and that the safety can also touch it. Your third read is your tight end running the corner strike. And usually this route takes the longest to develop as the receiver has to go inside and then bend it back to the outside. What you are hoping for is for your halfback to draw the attention of the cornerback in the light blue flat zone. You want your wide receiver 2 running the post route to draw the attention of the safety on the left side of the field, leaving you with a little bit more room to throw the ball to your tight end. This coverage leaves a very small margin of error, so if you have a speedy quarterback, then I recommend scrambling for the first down. Here is a cover 2 out of the 4-3 defense with 5 defenders rushing the quarterback. 4-3 defense, meaning 4 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers, is a pretty good defense against stopping the runs, and you usually see it most on first and second downs. Pre-snap, the defense doesn't really tell you much. You can guess that it may be a too high safety, but whether it's man or zone coverage, that can only be determined post-snap. If it's man coverage, then once again you'll be looking at your receiver running the corner route, which in this case is my slot receiver, and most likely he will be matched up against the linebacker. If it was zone coverage, then you'll be looking at the reads again, first looking at the linebacker on the right, then the cornerback 1, and then the safety. Turns out the linebacker on the left side of the screen is going to be blitzing, so it turns out to be a 5-man rush. And then you have 5 blockers against 5 rushes, so you have less time to throw the ball as the blockers are one-on-one with the rushes, and any one of them could get beat. It's going to be a cover 2, so you have 2 safeties in deep blue zone coverages and 2 cornerbacks in light blue zone guarding the flats. The remaining 2 linebackers are going to be in yellow medium zone coverages, meaning you have quite a lot of room to play with. In the first clip, it was the dime coverage where you only have 4 rushes, meaning they had 7 defenders dropping back into zone coverage, and there were less holes to throw the ball to. But in this case, you have 5 defenders rushing, means there are only 6 defenders dropping into zone coverages. Regardless of the defense, your first read is going to be your receiver running the corner route. So in this case, it is my slot receiver. Second read is your wide receiver 2 running the corner strike. And your third read is your tight end running the post route. Cover 3 is when the defense has 3 defenders in deep blue zone coverages. This is a dime formation cover 3. Based on the pre-snap defensive layout, you could sort of guess that it's cover 3 based on the single high safety and the 2 cornerbacks playing off coverage. This is what the defense looks like after the snap. You have 3 defenders dropping into deep blue zones, and then you have 3 medium yellow zones, and then you have 2 linebackers blitzing on the left side of the line. Your read progressions against this defense are different because of the 3 medium yellow zones. Your first read is the receiver on the post route. You're looking to hit him between the zone of the safety and the middle linebacker. Your second read is the receiver running the hitch route. Since the nearest zone defender will most likely be occupied by the receiver running the corner route, you will have room underneath to throw the ball. And your third read is your halfback who is running to the flats, as there are no flat defenders guarding that area. After the snap, I see that the left side of my offensive line is going to get overloaded, so I need to get the ball out pretty quickly. And since there are no flat defenders, I throw it to my halfback. Here is another cover 3 zone defense, and since we are at the 10-yard line, the zone coverages are gonna be more condensed, making the throwing windows much smaller to fit the ball in. This is gonna be a nickel formation defense, which means there are 5 defensive backs. Here are the zone coverage layouts of this specific cover 3 defense. You can see that there are going to be the 3 deep blue zones. There are going to be 2 medium yellow zones, and this time there are going to be 2 defenders guarding the flats in the light blue zones. Here are the routes your receivers are going to be running. Since you are at the 10-yard line, you have about 10 to 15 yards of room for you to throw your receivers, and it is zone coverage, meaning that it's going to be pretty compressed in the end zone area. Your primary read is going to be your receiver running the corner route, which in this case is my slot receiver. Your number 2 read is receiver running the post route, which is my tight end, and your number 3 read is going to be your receiver running the corner strike, which is my wide receiver 2. And your dump off is going to be your halfback running to the flats. The zone coverages are going to be pretty compressed on the right side of the field, so I'm going to throw it to my wide receiver 2 on the corner strike, and he's able to get into position and catch the ball. It is easy to tell that this defense is cover 3 based on how the cornerbacks are positioned pre-snap. Take a look at the cornerbacks. You see the one on the right is really close to the line of scrimmage, while the other one, which is cornerback 2 on the left, is about 5 to 7 yards off of the receivers. Based on this pre-snap positioning, you can tell that cornerback 2 and the 2 safeties will be dropping back into the 3 deep blue zones, while cornerback 1, who is on the right side of the field, will be dropping into either a yellow zone or a flat light blue zone. This is the zone coverages of the defense after the snap. It's a cover 3 because you have the 3 deep blue zones. You have 2 defenders dropping into the medium yellow zones, and you have 2 flat defenders. Here are the receiver routes. So your primary read is your receiver running the corner route, in this case my slot receiver. Since I know that cornerback 1, who is on the right side of the field, will not be dropping back into a zone deeper than a light blue, then he will most likely be covering the receiver running the hitch route, meaning I have a lot of room between the flat light blue zone defender and the safety who is dropping into his deep blue zone. Your second read is your receiver running the post route, which is my tight end. You're looking to hit him between the 2 yellow medium zones, while your third read is your halfback running to the flats. Here's the play one more time. Post snap, you can see cornerback 2 and the 2 safeties dropping into the 3 deep blue zones, while cornerback 1 stays in the flats, leaving a lot of room for the touchdown. This defense looks like cover 2 pre-snap, but after the snap it turns into a cover 3. This defense is out of the 3-4 formation. The 3 comes from the 3 defensive linemen, and the 4 comes with the 4 linebackers. This defense is going to be a 5-man zone blitz. You have your linebacker and either your middle linebacker or your 3-4 linebacker on the blitz, including your 3 defensive linemen. You have your 2 cornerbacks and one of the safeties dropping into the deep blue zones. And you have your second safety, a middle linebacker, and the remaining linebacker dropping into the medium yellow zones. This defense has no defenders guarding the flats, meaning your halfback or the hitch route can be wide open pretty regularly. This is your receiver routes overlaid with the defensive layout. So your first read is going to be your receiver running the post route, and you're trying to fit that ball in between the 2 yellow zones and also the safety in a deep blue zone. Your second read is going to be your receiver running the hitch route, as that cornerback, which is cornerback 2 on the left side of the field, is dropping from the 15-yard line all the way to the end zone to cover his deep blue zone. You have a lot of room underneath for your receiver to run the hitch route before the safety can get to him. Your third read is going to be your halfback run to the flats. Since there are no flat defenders, you have a lot of time to hit him, and you can make the defender miss after he's caught the ball. Here is another look at the clip. You can see that I'm able to fit the ball into the soft spot between the zone defenses and get the touchdown. Here's the exact same defense again. One thing to keep in mind is that if your opponent has hard-hitting safeties like Ronnie Lott or Sean Taylor, you may want to throw to the halfback instead. This is going to be a cover 3 zone defense with 5 blitzes. The defense is going to be out of the 3-4 formation. You can tell because you have 3 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers. This is what the defense is going to be doing after the snap. You have your 2 outside linebackers blitzing, creating a 5-man rush. You have your 2 cornerbacks and your single high safety dropping into the 3 deep blue zones. You have your remaining safety, the 3-4 linebacker and a middle linebacker dropping into medium yellow zones. There are no flat defenders on this play, meaning once again your receiver running the hitch and your halfback running to the flats will be open as your dump-offs. Here's a look at your primary reads, which is your receiver running the corner route, in this case my slot receiver. So he is going to be matched up against the cornerback who is about 7 to 8 yards deep, who is going to be dropping further back, meaning you have the leverage with that route. Your second read is going to be your receiver running the post route. And once again, if you find your opponent has really high hit power safeties like Ronnie Lott, Sean Taylor, Troy Polamalu, then I would recommend avoiding this route. Your checkdowns, once again, are your hitch routes and your halfback running to the flats because there are no flat zone defenders, meaning most of the time there will be at least 5 to 7 yards of room before you get tackled. After the snap, you see that your offensive line is 1-on-1 against a blitzer, so you have to throw the ball pretty quickly. Your dump offs, which is your halfback and your hitch route, are wide open. Cover 4 is when you have the 2 cornerbacks and 2 safeties dropping into 4 deep blue zones. This cover 4 is out of the nickel formation, and pre-snap is hard to tell that this is cover 4 because you only have 2 high safeties and both of the cornerbacks are right at the line of scrimmage. You can see in this diagram that from 5 to 15 yards out, there are a lot of empty areas on the field which aren't covered by the zone defenders. So you can use this to your advantage as many of the routes in the corner cross play fall into this intermediate range. Against a cover 4 defense, you will most likely want to be pass leading down as you don't want your receiver to be catching the ball and then get hit sticked instantly by one of the defenders in the deep blue zones. Your first read is going to be your wide receiver running the corner strike route. So the reason this is the number 1 read is because it is longer developing and that gives you time for the defender in the light blue flat zone to be distracted by a halfback and for the cornerback who is dropping into his deep blue zone to drop back far enough for you to find room underneath. Your second read is the receiver running the post route. So waiting for that receiver to clear the yellow medium zone and before he reaches the safety in the deep blue zone. Cover 4 leaves a lot of uncovered room underneath and you can easily get the first down. Here is another cover 4 zone defense out of a different formation. You can see that you can still find holes in this defense like I found with the post route. This cover 4 is out of the 3-4 formation, meaning that you have your 4 linebackers in charge of covering the underneath and middle of the field. Depending on who your opponent has in on defense, you can take advantage of this as most of the linebackers and middle linebackers who are higher overall don't have high zone coverages. A cover 4 defense out of the 3-4 formation that is really popular is cover 4 drop zone. So you have your 2 linebackers on the outside dropping into the light blue flat zones. You have your 3-4 linebacker and your middle linebacker dropping into the 2 medium yellow zones. And you have your 2 cornerbacks and 2 safeties dropping into the 4 deep blue zones. Here are the reads you should be looking for against this defense. Your first read is the receiver running the corner route, which in this case is my tight end. The reason that this is your first read is because he is matched up against a cornerback who is going to be dropping back 15 to 20 yards further down the field. Your second read is going to be your receiver running the post route, which in this case is my slot receiver. Once again, you're trying to find the soft spot between the 2 safeties in the deep blue zones and the middle linebacker and 3-4 linebacker in the medium yellow zone. Your dump off is going to be a halfback who's running to the flats, and ideally you want to hit him before he reaches the flat zone defender. If you didn't flip this play and your corner route had more room, I would throw that receiver first, but since I flipped it and it's more condensed, I'll throw it to my post route. Goal line formation is very recognizable because there are 5 defensive linemen. Goal line formation has 5 defenders with their hands in the ground as D linemen. Your 4 D linemen and the 5th one being your dime back. You have all 4 of your linebacking group on the field as well as 2 cornerbacks. I do not recommend having goal line formation defenses in your defensive strategy as they are very recognizable and easy to beat. This is what the defense will be doing after the snap. You can see that they are going to be blitzing 3 additional defenders, meaning that there are only 3 defenders to cover 5 of my receivers. In this situation, your primary read is going to be receiver run the corner route, which in this case for me is my slot receiver. You can throw it as soon as he makes his cut. Your second read, which is your dump off, is your halfback. There are no defenders which is going to be matched up on him in man coverage, so hopefully you'll be able to get enough room and yards after the catch to pick up the first down. Once again, here is another look at my wide open slot receiver catching the ball and getting a touchdown. Quarters coverage is what you see at the end of football games when people are trying to defend against a Hail Mary. Quarters formation is like a mix and match of all the other formations. You have 3 defensive linemen, like 3-4 defenses. You have your middle linebacker and 3-4 linebacker on the field. You have all 6 of your defensive backs like dime formation. This specific quarters coverage is called prevent. You have your 3D line rushing the quarterback. You have your middle linebacker, 3-4 linebacker, and one of the defensive backs dropping into the medium yellow zones. And you have the rest of the defenders dropping into the deep blue zones. This is meant to defend against a Hail Mary, but someone put this in on 2nd and 4, which falls under 2nd and medium, and you can easily take advantage of this. Here are the routes your receivers will be running. I have the wide receiver 2 and tight end route switched, so please keep in mind that they are displayed incorrectly in this picture. Your wide receiver 2 should be running the corner strike, while your tight end should be running the post route. Your primary read against a prevent defense is going to be your receiver running the corner route, which in this case is my slot receiver. You will be able to find a hole in the zone coverage between the defender in the yellow medium zone and the deep blue zones. Your second read is going to be your wide receiver 2 running the corner strike. This is going to be a long and developing route, but since there are only 3 defenders rushing, you have enough time. So what you're waiting for is to find the hole between the yellow zone defender and the deep blue defender, similar to what you're looking for in the corner route. Your third read is your dump off, and it's going to be your halfback running to the flats. I would not recommend having any quarters coverages in on 2nd and 4 as you give up a lot of yards easily. That wraps up this video. It's been a while since I've last posted because I've been busy with school and other stuff. If you want to ask any questions or see more play breakdowns like this, please leave it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, please click the like button. If you want to see more, please click the subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.